Hey guys, so Lucid, the electric vehicle upstart, is up 5% today, and I'm going to explain why. So we can see here, Lucid is a decently sized holding in my portfolio. It's up 5% today in the market. And the reason behind this is the following. So we can see this from the New York Times. Lucid Motors beats Tesla in range, going 520 miles on a charge. That's by the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. So we can see Lucid's top of the line Air Dream Edition can drive 520 miles on a full battery. That's more than 100 miles more than the Tesla Model S long range. So this is a record. This is now the electric vehicle with the longest range as rated by the EPA. And this is a really good feather in the cap for Lucid. Now, we've had some comments here by Peter Rawlinson, who was a former engineer at Tesla, and he said for months that the cars will go further than Tesla. And what he says here is following. Crucially, this landmark has been achieved by Lucid's world-leading EV technology, not by simply installing an oversized battery pack. So it seems like they've really got a lot of IP and technology here that they've managed to develop, because they've not just put in a bigger battery pack, they've actually put in a lot of knowledge into that. And we know, remember, that Lucid is not new to the EV space, right? They're new as a company, but they're not new at all. They've been doing a lot of the Formula E events, and so they're used to creating different types of batteries which are streamlined, and they're really saying that this has now meant that they can push on. So this is a really good sign. Now, this, when we saw the metrics come out in their investor relations presentation, you're a bit skeptical. You're like, yeah, we want to see it, but now it's got the EPA rating. The market is really taking positively to this. So it's a really good catalyst. But even as an investor myself, we need to see much more. This is not enough. You've got the likes of Rivian coming into the market. We know Xpeng are coming out with a $25,000 car. I like that Lucid are going for the more luxury end. They're trying to be the Mercedes-Benz slash BMW, but they've really got to push on with that, and we've not seen a car at production quality yet. So it's great that they have the right ethos and that's what they want to go after. I agree with it, but they've got to produce, right? You've now seen that Rivian have partnered up, they're ready. General Motors, Volkswagen are coming out. We saw the Ford F-150 electric vehicle truck. So it's a hotly competitive space. But the fact that they've got that from the EPA, that they're 100 miles more range, more than Tesla, it's a big deal. The cars are expensive, but because the infrastructure for EVs, the charging stations, are still in its infancy, the range makes more and more of a difference, right? So when electric vehicle charging points become more ubiquitous across the globe than, let's say, petrol stations, then the range will matter less, right? Because everybody will know there's somewhere to charge it. So crucially, not only do you need more infrastructure in terms of charging points, but the charging needs to be quicker as well, right? If you can get an 80% charge in 10 minutes, or even better in 3-4 minutes, which is the time it takes you to fill up petrol anyway, that could be a game changer at that point, which is very far down the line. Then range doesn't matter, right? Because then you just charge up whenever you need it, and therefore that race can start to become less important. But right now, when that infrastructure is at its infancy, this is a really important metric, and this will really give Lucid the ability to charge the prices that they want to charge for. The Air Dream Edition starts at $169,000. Their, I think, $80,000 model will come out. Let's take a look. I believe that's in 2022. We can see that in this article. So that's what the car looks like. Nice looking car. You can clearly see how that could appeal. The fact that it's US produced as well. There we go. So you'll get the base model released in 2022 for $77,000. Okay, but that's $69,000 with your federal EV tax credit. So it's definitely a step above the Tesla price range. Tesla are trying to, as they've said, go for a $25,000 car. They're facing competition with Xpeng, who've just released a $25,000 car already. So it's a really hot market, and I think you've got to start differentiating. Just if you look at the ICE car industry, the internal combustion engine cars, you can see how they started competing, right? So initially, nobody, they started off competing on emissions and your miles per gallon, on your fuel and safety ratings and all these kind of things. But once you've maxed out those, it then becomes about desirability. And that's why I believe if Lucid can get their production right, which is a big if, by the way, but as Elon Musk said, it's one of the hardest things he's ever done is getting a production line set up and getting these cars out at mass volume. But if they can get it, and they've managed to differentiate themselves with a aesthetically pleasing car that appeals to the luxury. Because I know a lot of people that with a lot of money that wouldn't touch a Tesla because it's too vanilla for them, right? They're not particularly techy, but they've got plenty of money that they want to have an experience. And they're the people that buy the BMW S classes. They might buy fancy Range Rovers. How do you get them into an electrical vehicle? And that's where my conviction came for a project like Lucid. I'm not saying Lucid's going to be the winner, and that's why I've not allocated massive amounts of my portfolio, but it's a decent amount. And if they do well, it can grow nicely. Because that level of the market exists, and I'm sure if you survey people in America, in the Western countries, there are people that don't want to touch a Tesla because they don't feel like there's enough configuration. There is a certain market where they love it, and they just pick a color, pick an interior between black and white, 2 choices of rims, and off you go. But there's other people that are used to the Mercedes-Benz S classes of picking, really bespoking your car, picking your interior, picking your color schemes, ambient lighting, the quilted seats, all these kind of things. And I think that's the route that Lucid are trying to take, if I'm not mistaken. But at the same time, they've got to get the fundamental electric vehicle part right. But this gives you confidence that they've managed to do that, because if the EPA have now approved them at a 520-mile range, that is a true feather in Lucid's cap. So yeah, really looking forward to that. That's good news today on Lucid. The stock has responded positively. We can see it climbing. Let's take a look at the charts. Where is Lucid? There we go. Let's pull up Lucid. And that's the daily chart. And you can see really, ever since we've had the peak euphoria and we climb back down, we've really been channeling. We've not managed to get beyond 29. And obviously when we had the sellout period, it kind of dropped to 27, but we're stabilizing around the kind of 21 mark. So it's good that we've managed to kind of get back up here to 20.6. And this really just has to push forward. But the only thing that's going to get, there's not much TA you really want to be doing on Lucid. The only thing that's going to get Lucid moving is them producing vehicles. And if they don't start producing vehicles quickly into 2021, it's going to be a bit of a problem for them, because the market's expecting it. They're going to want to see a few vehicles on the road. And when the vehicles get into the hands of journalists, into the hands of influencers on YouTube, and they do a good push from the marketing perspective, I think this stock can start moving and becoming a decent kind of... I don't think, they've got a long way to go to compete with Tesla. Tesla's on a different planet, but they've got a long way to go. But they can definitely show signs of being a solid player in the markets. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. There's an update on Lucid and why we're up 5% just a few hours into the market open. Hopefully that can continue for the rest of the day. And we'll see you in the next one.